Assalamu alaikum students. I hope all of you will be fine. So today we are going to start our second and a new lesson, new chapter, and that is about the photosynthesis. You people have read photosynthesis in O level as well. We will be going into a bit more details, like in when you studied about photosynthesis in O level, you talked about you must have read the definition, the equation, then maybe a bit introduction about the stages, but you did not study about the detail of the stages of photosynthesis. Then as far as the structure of chloroplast, that was not there as far as I remember. Then you see in A levels, basically in your syllabus, what we have to study in detail, that is about the various stages, and the stages of photosynthesis and their detailed chemical reactions, chloroplast structure and function. Then as far as the various factors which are going to affect the process of photosynthesis, but the factors detail is almost the same as in a O level. A bit more detail can be there, but it's not that much. Okay, limiting factors concept is there. Then we have some new topics like growing plants in the, like how can we grow the plants in protected environments like glass houses. Then we have to study about the the C4 plants. Then we have to see how we can separate the photosynthetic pigments by the use of chromatography. Okay, so basically it's a small topic, but having so many details inside. Okay, so today we are just going to have an overall view of photosynthesis. Okay, so if we see like when we are talking about the earth, uh, when we talk about the process of photosynthesis, of course it is concerned with the living organisms which are present on the earth. Now basically for photosynthesis we require a source of energy. Okay, as far as the process of photosynthesis is concerned, the main source of energy is the light energy, which is the energy coming from the sun. Though nowadays we can use the artificial source of energy as well, but even then, if we talk about on a large scale, if we talk about the process of photosynthesis on natural basis, then of course the source of energy in that case is the light energy from sun, which is the solar energy basically. Okay, so what happens in the process of photosynthesis, we know that light energy is converted into the chemical potential energy. Then we know as a result of photosynthesis organic molecules are manufactured. Like most of the time they're the carbohydrates, but we will see at a later stage that it's not only the carbohydrates, some other organic molecules are also manufactured, but that is at a later stage, which is which we can say it is outside the scope of photosynthesis. Okay, that's why whenever we talk about photosynthesis we are talking about carbohydrates and mainly the glucose. Okay, but like if we look at ourselves, if we look at the animals, if we look at the human beings, do you think we are able to convert the light energy into chemical energy? No, we can't do that. Okay, basically for us, light energy from sun, that is used to keep our bodies warm. That's it. Okay, so it is going to provide us the heat energy basically, and that heat energy helps us to keep our bodies warm, especially when it is when these are the cold conditions outside. Okay, but other than that we are unable to convert this light energy of sun into the chemical energy. Okay, so now we come back to the photosynthesis. So basically in the process of photosynthesis light energy is converted into the chemical potential energy. Now as a result of photosynthesis the organic molecules which are manufactured, this chemical potential energy is stored in those organic molecules. And when these organic molecules they are oxidized in the process of cellular respiration, then energy is released, and that energy is used for the synthesis of ATP. And we know that ATP is the energy currency of the cell, and that is utilized to give the energy wherever it is required to carry on so many activities. Okay, so this was all about the the start of photosynthesis. Now we come to the next one. Now we come to those organisms uh, who can when we talk about aut- autotrophs, we have talked about, if you remember, we talked about autotrophs and heterotrophs in the process of respiration at the very beginning. Okay, so now we come to autotrophs, and autotrophs, obviously, they are concerned, basically. Simply speaking about autotrophs, we say they are the organisms who are able to manufacture their own food. Okay, now that can be by the process of photosynthesis or something else. Okay, it's not necessary that over here we are talking about photosynthesis only, because we are talking about autotrophs. Okay, and we will see later on autotrophs there are of two types. Okay, that's why I'm not saying that it's only the process of photosynthesis involved. So basically when we say about autotrophs, we say they are, simply speaking, we say they are the organisms who are able to manufacture their own food. Okay, but technically speaking, now we say that those organisms who can use an inorganic source of carbon in the form of carbon dioxide, they are called as autotrophs. Actually, this is the true definition of autotrophs. Whenever, let's suppose, it comes in the a Cambridge question paper that what are autotrophs, what is meant by autotrophs, never ever write down that definition that they are able to manufacture their own food. That is just for our understanding, or that definition can be was acceptable at a lower level. Okay, but when we are talking about this level now, we this definition is not going to be acceptable. That is just for your understanding. Okay, so organisms that can use an inorganic source of carbon in the form of carbon dioxide, they are called as autotrophs. Like we see, we are the heterotrophs, but we cannot use this inorganic source of carbon in the form of carbon dioxide. No, we can't use it. We can't use carbon dioxide anywhere inside our body. Okay, rather carbon dioxide is one of the waste products of the respiration, right? So those organisms who can use inorganic source of carbon in the form of carbon dioxide, they are called as autotrophs. There are two types of autotrophs: photoautotrophs and chemoautotrophs. Now you can see, photo means light, chemo means it is something related with some chemical. Okay, so photoautotrophs, actually, this was a very interesting picture I found out. So you can see this is a green plant, right? And what is this written behind it? It is below it. It is photoautotroph, and I can photosynthesize. So basically, photoautotrophs are those organisms who can use obviously an inorganic source of carbon in the form of carbon dioxide. But why they are called as photoautotrophs? Because the source of energy for them is the light energy. That's why the word photo comes there. Okay, so photoautotrophs, they are those autotrophs who are using the light energy as a source of energy. Okay, so that's why they are called as photoautotrophs, and obviously they are the organisms who are going to do the process of photosynthesis. That's why it's written over here, I can photosynthesize. Okay, now we come to the chemoautotrophs. Chemoautotrophs, basically, they don't use the light energy as their source of energy. Rather, they use chemical energy sources. Okay, that's why they are called as chemoautotrophs. Okay, so chemo word is basically because they don't depend on light energy. Rather, they use chemical energy sources. That's why they are called as chemoautotrophs. We will talk about autotrophs, and that's why you can see over here it's written yum nitrogen. Because why nitrogen there? Because one major example of chemoautotrophs is the nitrifying bacteria, and you know, nitrifying bacteria, they play a very very important role in the nitrogen cycle. Okay, no, next comes, that's another slide related to the autotrophs and their types. It is just, I took it just for a better understanding. Otherwise, once again, if you see here, autotrophs who use photosynthesis to make food. And what is on the other side? Those autotrophs who use chemosynthesis to make food. But you see, in your syllabus, the word of chemosynthesis is not utilized. Okay, basically, we say it's here that they use certain chemical energy to make food. Okay, and it's there use light energy to produce food. This is the basic difference. And obviously the process which is involved there, that is photosynthesis, and same is the case here. As light energy is used, so it is photosynthesis. Synthesis obviously simply means manufacture, okay? And chemosynthesis, where rather than light energy, chemical energy is used. That's why this process is called as chemosynthesis. Now coming to this, once again the differences. Photoautotrophs, they use the light energy, and the examples of the photoautotrophs, they include all the green plants. Photosynthetic prokaryotes, there are many bacteria who can do the process of photosynthesis, okay? So photosynthetic prokaryotes, both single-celled and many-cell protoctist. Protoctists are also the organisms. We will talk about protoctist when we are going to talk about classification of organisms, ठीक है? अभी सिर्फ आप लोग ये टर्मिनोलॉजी याद रखो, that's it. So now we come to the chemoautotrophs. Chemoautotrophs, they do not depend on the light energy, rather they use chemical energy sources. One example is nitrifying bacteria in the nitrogen cycle. And how do nitrifying bacteria, they get the chemical energy? They get the energy when they oxidize ammonia to nitrite, and then they oxidize nitrite to nitrate. This is the way they get the energy, okay? So these are the chemoautotrophs. Now, next is coming back to the process of photosynthesis. Okay, we know the various requirements which are there for the process of photosynthesis. You see, it is the light energy a plant is getting, it is a carbon dioxide which is required, and it's water which is required. And what happens as a result of photosynthesis? Organic molecules are manufactured, and of which they are basically carbohydrates, right? और कार्बोहाइड्रेट्स में से भी सबसे कॉमनली कौन सी होती हैं? हेक्सोज शुगर्स, ओके? Hexoses, which are the sugars. And so that's why whenever we write down the formula for them, whenever we write down the equation for photosynthesis, we are going to write glucose there, and glucose, you know, that is one of the hexose sugars. So these are the two products of the photosynthesis: oxygen and sugars. So now what is photosynthesis? Basically, photosynthesis is a process in which fixation of carbon dioxide takes place. First, carbon dioxide is fixed, and then it is reduced to carbohydrates. And for its reduction, from where hydrogen is coming? Hydrogen is coming from water in the presence of light energy, okay? So process of photosynthesis, firstly, it takes place in the presence of light energy, right? Secondly, fixation of carbon dioxide takes place, and then its subsequent reduction to carbohydrates. And for the reduction of carbon dioxide, hydrogen is coming from the water, okay? And then you see, obviously, when we talk about light energy, light is going to be absorbed by certain suitable pigments, okay? So basically pigments have to, they are necessarily present there for the absorption of light energy, okay? We will talk about the pigments later on, but basically this is the technically true definition of photosynthesis, which is required in A level, okay? Fixation, maybe it's confusing for you people. Fixation means over here trapping, the trapping of carbon dioxide, because obviously plants, they're going to take the carbon dioxide from atmospheric airs. So the trapping of carbon dioxide and its reduction to carbohydrates, okay? Then if we look at the overall equation for the photosynthesis, it can be written like this: N is the number of moles or molecules of carbon dioxide, and molecules of water, and that leads to the formation of CH2ON, that's the carbohydrate, plus N number of oxygen are there, and then light energy in the presence of chlorophyll. But remember that usually we write down the chlorophyll here, because it's not only chlorophyll, there are so many other photosynthetic pigments involved in the process, but chlorophyll is the main photosynthetic pigments. That's why whenever we write down the equation, rather than writing photosynthetic pigments, we write down the chlorophyll as well. So you people must remember this thing whenever you are going to write down the equation for photosynthesis, whether they ask for a generalized equation, or whether we write it in terms of hexoses, we always write down chlorophyll rather than photosynthetic pigments. So then you see this is the commonly used equation to represent the process of photosynthesis. As we say, hexose sugars, they are commonly formed in photosynthesis. So the equation, this one equation is commonly used. You can see over here 6 carbon dioxide. This is a balanced equation. 6 carbon dioxide combined with 6 water molecule in the presence of light energy and chlorophyll, and as a result, what is manufactured? 1 molecule of glucose plus 6 molecules of oxygen. Okay, whenever we because most of the time you will see whenever they for example, there is a question, and the question states that write an equation for the process of photosynthesis, or maybe it is a descriptive question and you have to write down the equation for photosynthesis. It's always recommended that you use this equation rather than writing that general equation where n number of molecules are used. Okay, so basically it's always preferable to write this equation. Then next we come to the stages of photosynthesis. Now this is what you people haven't studied in O level. There are two sets of reactions which are involved in the process of photosynthesis. They are the light dependent reactions and light independent reactions. Okay, now you can guess somewhat what can be meant by light dependent reactions and light independent reactions. Now firstly we just have an overall look at light dependent reactions and light independent reactions, then we will talk about their detail. Now, light dependent reaction, dependent means these reactions, they depend on light energy. It means light energy is necessary for light dependent reactions, and light dependent reactions, they cannot take place without the presence of light energy. Secondly, obviously, light dependent reactions, they only occur in the presence of suitable pigments. Why? Because we are saying light energy is required. Who is going to absorb the light energy? There are certain suitable pigments. So that's why the presence of pigments is quite must in light dependent reactions. Okay, these pigments, what they do, they absorb, because there are a variety of photosynthetic pigments, and these pigments, they differ because they differ from each other because they absorb different wavelengths of light. Okay, now the thing is this, light energy is basically required for what? Light energy is required for the photolysis of water. Okay, photo means light, lysis mean breakup or splitting. So basically it's the splitting of water molecule in the presence of light energy. So that's why this is called as photolysis. So this is another important process taking place. Like light dependent reaction is not only about photolysis of water. We will see light energy is basically required two processes. One, phosphorylation takes place in light dependent reactions. Okay, we will talk about it later on कि phosphorylation किसकी होती है, ठीक है? So for phosphorylation light energy is required, so that's why that phosphorylation is called as photophosphorylation. Second is for photolysis of water. Okay, so remember that we will talk about the light dependent reactions later on in detail, so that's why I did not discuss the photophosphorylation here, but you must remember that in light dependent reaction, light energy is required for two main processes. One is photophosphorylation, second is photolysis. I can write it over here, I think so. Light energy required for photolysis of water. And what is photolysis? That is the splitting of water into hydrogen and oxygen in the presence of light energy. Light energy is also required to provide chemical energy in the form of ATP. We will talk about it later on, that how light energy provides the chemical energy in the form of ATP. Okay, then next is sorry, light independent reactions. Obviously it is the opposite of light dependent reaction. It means these reactions are independent of light. It means light energy is not required, right? And that's why this light independent reaction, they are generally called as dark stage as well, because light is not required. Now, this light dependent reaction, it includes actually only one cycle, and that is called as the Kelvin cycle. Okay, and what happens in the Kelvin cycle? Actually, the fixation of carbon dioxide takes place. It means how carbon dioxide is converted, it's used for the formation of carbohydrates. Okay, and for this process, energy is required, and that energy is using energy in the form of ATP, and basically this ATP is coming from light dependent reactions. Okay, but the thing is this, remember that light dependent reaction does not require light energy, but it cannot take place unless and until light independent reaction does not take place, because the products of light dependent reaction takes place first, and then comes light independent reactions. Why? Because the products of light independent dependent reactions, they are transferred to the light independent reactions. For example, um, we know that we talked about is that carbon dioxide is reduced to carbohydrates, और reduction के लिए hydrogen कहाँ से आती है? Water से. And remember that जो water की splitting है वो कहाँ पे होती है? Light dependent reaction में. ठीक है? Secondly, इस process के लिए for the fixation of carbon dioxide to carbohydrates, energy is required in the form of ATP. और ATP की synthesis कहाँ पे होती है? Light dependent reactions में. Okay, so basically these are the products of light dependent reactions which are going to be utilized in light independent reactions. So though light energy is not required here, but independent reaction cannot take place without light dependent reaction. Okay, so this was all about today's lesson, because in the next lesson we are going to talk about light dependent reactions in detail, and we have to move in one go for that. So that's why I decided just to wind up here for today. So I hope the things are clear, and because it was just a start and introduction. So so then see you on next Tuesday, inshallah. Have a nice weekend. Take care of yourself. Allah Hafiz.